All right, if you're joining us from the US, it is not Thanksgiving, but if you're in Canada, it's Thanksgiving. And these guys are here giving back to you. So Jason, Kevin, thanks for joining us on the Canadian Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Good.
I love it. You guys made some time for us. Well, let's get into it. Tell us a little bit about your business, and then we'll get into drips, automation, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so basically we have a team of, we started with, this year we doubled our team. So we're now up to 20 agents, 5 VAs or ISAs overseas in the Philippines, and then 4 in-house staff, including Kevin, my director of sales. And we just hired actually a leads manager too. So, and then I've been doing the business for 15 years and started the team about 4 years ago. So
wow,
it will be over 200 deals this year. We were at 180 last year. We'll be, 230, 240.
All right. And
our average price point is somewhere about 700,000 right now.
Damn.
Yeah.
Dude, that's really good. Over 200 at 700K. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. What was it? 2 months ago, we went over $100 million worth of real estate sold already.
Woo. Well, I love that. All right. So tell me a little bit about where you guys get your leads from, just so I better understand that.
Our number one sources right now is Wailopo.
All right.
We've been working with them now for what, 2.5, just over 2 years, about 2 years. So that's our number one lead source. We don't have like Zillow up here. So our number one is there. We also deal with some other companies we just started with Agent Locator, a company called KV Core we're working with. But I would say 85% of our leads are still Wailopo.
All right, cool. And you're doing PPC or Facebook lead ads?
More PPC than Facebook. We find we get more leads with Facebook, but the quality tends to be a little better with PPC right now.
It's funny that down the line, that's what everybody's saying, every market. Interesting.
Yeah, and I was just talking to the guy today. They've been trying to get us seller leads up here. It's been a bit of a nightmare trying to get us seller leads based on, we're on postal codes, not zip codes. So I bug my man G over there about once a month and tell him what's going on.
you poke him. You're like, dude.
I got his mobile phone. I think he wants to block me by now.
He's gonna block you soon. I heard it's a rumor.
So actually, I got a call today from one of their guys saying, "Hey, we got to figure it out." So they're beta testing us.
I love it, guys. Well, let's get into the lead process. As soon as you're getting a lead from, let's just say Google PPC, take me through that. What happens? Because you also have ISAs involved.
Yeah, so we actually use a company called Conversion Monster down in the US right now. So what happens? The lead comes in within 7 minutes. Conversion Monster's calling them, and the AI bot through Raya is also hitting them through Wailopo.
You don't find that it's too much that Raya's turned on? You have Conversion Monster calling them. What's your feel on that?
We've played with the different ideas. We've talked about maybe having the call going in within the first 10 minutes and then Raya, maybe half an hour in. But right now, we've kind of left it where it is. And just, again, I think for everybody, it's a little different, right? So for the, one or two for every 100 that complain, I'm not really worried about that much.
Well, to me, what it comes back to for me is that I just want to get an answer, a yes or no, or a maybe, and then we put it in the right stage. So that's kind of what I look at.
Take me through the stages, because I think a lot of people using Follow Up Boss never set up the stages correctly. How do you do it?
Well, and I'll give Alana that we talked to I watched one of your Facebook or one of your things on Follow Up Boss, and I saw what she was doing. We reached out. That was the best $750 I think I spent. That's US, so about 1,000 and something Canadian. Best money we spent, because we didn't do it for the first year or so. So once we had her go in and clean up our system, it's worked really well, and our agents love it more.
Ooh, all right. So take me through a little bit of what she did so we can better understand how those smart plans were organized.
Yeah. So what she did was basically along your top line, besides when it comes in as people, we structured everything from 1, 2, 3 down to 12 steps, and each one has a different stage. And then with that, the agents have, we have
9 different stages, 9 that the agents have to do every day.
Yeah.
And we can go through those if you want. It's just a matter of when the lead comes in, they're gonna get called, they're gonna get the text, they're gonna get that. It also, based on the area what they're looking, it goes to the right pool of agents and it goes into their list. So we've kind of separated a bit, so it's, you know, because we have a bigger area now, I don't know.
Yeah, we're now in north or west of Toronto, but we also started getting leads about 2 hours west. So we have agents in another location. So as the lead comes in, it gets funneled to whatever agents work in certain areas based on the cities and then, and the postal codes. And then, so what happens is Conversion Monster makes a call, Raya hits them. The agent watches. If the Raya starts talking, they'll let it run for a bit and then maybe take it over or go in as Raya through Wailopo and talk to them. If there's no answer day one, then day two, we let Conversion Monster call them. And then when our stuff starts is day three. That's when our agents get mostly engaged. The leads come in as a lead. And then on day three, we have a thing that triggers for our agents that says you need to call that person on day three.
And that's when the stage comes in.
That's where the stages start for us.
I like that. So how has that changed the dynamic of your business over the last few months since you've switched over?
It's made it a lot easier on the agents, not knowing, for the agents, they want, the biggest thing with agents, I say, is how do you train them to keep a schedule? Well, this gives them their schedule every day. Right?
Got it.
So when they walk in, the first thing they do is they look at what we call number one. And what that is it's a lead that's come in, that's 3 days old, that needs a call. All right. That is still under the stage lead. Okay. That means they haven't been talked to. Their second one then is after 12 days, they have to make a call. And after 45 days, they have to make a call. Those are the top three. Remember, Conversion Monster's been calling on day 1, 2, 5, 7. They make 6 calls for us, right?
Okay.
So that's how the leads, the first 3 things are how the leads work.
Okay.
Once you start talking to them, we move into different stages, hot lead, a warm lead, a cold lead. And what we mean by hot is somebody that's looking to transact in the next 3 months. All right. Warm is something from 3 to 9 months. And then cold is 9 months out. Okay.
Nice.
So, and we also tell people, even if they say they're 3-4 years out, if you're having a great conversation with them, put them in cold, right? So what happens then on the hot is they get triggered after 7 days. If you haven't talked to a hot lead, it'll come up on your top screen and say, you have 1 call to make that day.
Smart list.
Smart list, sorry.
Smart list, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then warm is after 30 days. And then cold's after 60 days. So that's the basic of the stage. So when you move them, they have to go accordingly. Every lead that's in there also gets started on a action plan. So they get put on an email drip plan. Every lead, right? So every lead that comes in, they also get emailed that first day too. So you actually get 3 things headed to them right off the bat.
Wow.
Those things stay going and it moves, the emails stay. You can change them. We find the agents don't, but at least it's kind of in there to keep in touch with people every, few weeks, right?
I love that. So take me through, you also mentioned you have ISAs out of the Philippines or no?
Yeah, so what we do, so we're our ISAs, we have 2 things with our ISAs, and we just actually hired 3 new ones. So we're just working on that plan. So the original ones, we have 2, and what they're doing is, so if a lead comes in and they're like, we're not interested, we're not buying right now, blah, blah, blah. They get put into what we call a pond. And then what our ISAs over there, the 2 ISAs will do is anybody that's been a lead older than 6 months, they call. Or anybody that's now come back and triggered through the Wailopo system, that's in the pond, that comes back and starts looking again, the ISAs call them every day, whoever comes in.
Oh,
so they
easy.
have 2 roles. They have a role of calling, when a lead 6 months old and hasn't been talked to, and or if they come back into our website, like through Wailopo, right?
Got it. So they're really in essence nurturing the database,
Yep.
whether they're older or they're coming back into
You got it.
taking action. I love that.
We have over 35,000 people in our database. So there's enough to keep them busy, put it that way. And then Now that we got everything on remarketing tags, if stuff comes back, any priorities, they move those forward.
All right. So then now you mentioned you hired 3 more ISAs?
Yeah, those 3 are just gonna cold call to start.
All right, like expireds for sale by owners?
We don't do we're not allowed to call expireds up here.
Okay.
That's illegal. And for sale by owners, we don't get a ton of it anymore. And what they did was they've now registered, the main company's registered as a brokerage, so we're not allowed to. So they're just gonna call, right now, they're just hired to call round, houses and that, right? We're not even allowed to get your mobile numbers up here. We have a different level of security up here, right? So they're just gonna call houses. Anybody that's got a home phone, they're just gonna call areas and see.
Who are you? All right, so 2 things. Where are you hiring your ISAs from?
We hire them in-house. We have a really good, amazing lady over there. She's
Okay.
also basically she does a little bit of everything for us. She's in charge of hiring, interviewing, making sure their English is proper. I did have her from another company years and years ago, and she was leaving and I offered her a job about 3 years ago.
Smart. I like that. And then where are you getting your list for calling the neighborhoods?
We have a thing called telelisting up here, which gives us all the phone numbers. Now, if they've registered as a do not call, we're not allowed to call those. We have
Okay, got it. How big is your team, guys? How many agents do you have?
21.
21. What have you found that the successful agents on the team are doing that's allowing them to succeed faster and to a different level?
2 things: putting their database in the system, right? Their own personal database. 2, they're very good at staying on top of their using the follow-up boss, right? They're the ones that use it properly every day.
All right, how would properly, what would it properly mean?
Basically, they get through 1 through 9 every day, or at least 1 through 8. 9's the cold, so catch those up.
So it's basically our smart list that we've kind of made.
And that's the list that you hired Elena Key for? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes,
Yeah,
Yep.
she helped us tweak
Good
it a
job.
bit and yeah.
a little bit of, we had a bit of it through watching, Barry Jenkins and stuff like that.
Yep,
But she came
yep.
in and she tweaked it and then made sure there was always an email action plan added to everything.
I like that. I
And
like
then-
that.
And then Kevin's really good at setting up automations.
All right, tell me
found
about
a
those
way to-
automations.
Pardon?
Tell me about those automations and how you work
So
them in
basically,
Follow Boss.
yeah, so we use them for everything, from, anniversaries to send out cards to anytime we need, grab something by a tag, by a postal code, in our case up in Canada, we can pull anything, right? So I really, I sat down with Barry and we had a good conversation with Barry Jenkins from Wailopo, and he helped us kind of with how he did stuff and for the automation side, and it's really helped us kind of obviously make things easier. Like what we want for our agents is to worry about selling the house and we'll handle everything else, right? You worry about that, we'll handle your paperwork, we'll give you the leads, and here you go. Here's the steps you got to do to be successful.
Right.
And that's kind of how we're trying to do it. And we use any automation. If I see something new, I'm on the follow-up boss every month or every week, and then Wailopo. And if you see something new, we try to adapt it and see if it works for us. So
Kevin, what automation is working really well for you right now that you would suggest others do the same on?
Oh, now we moved everybody.
yeah.
Yeah,
it's
so-
like our pond.
When we had 20,000 people, I would say, just sitting in the pond, but they weren't getting emails. So
Okay.
Kevin set up something where if we just put a certain tag on them or moved them into a certain stage, he had an automatic, then it would set up
Action plan.
the action plan. So we spent about 2 months and about 3 people going through and making sure everybody was in that. And we called it it's called a stale lead. And we've brought back a lot of people from them.
All right, take me through that automation. What does that include? Emails, texts? Is it in Follow Boss? Do you use call action? What does that look like?
No, it's just basically all it is bringing those people, taking them out of, so we put people in the pond before, but we didn't have,
Anything on them.
before we met with Elaine, I might be saying that wrong right now, she'll kill me.
Elena Key, I got you.
Nikki. So what she did was she set it up that every time somebody comes in to follow up boss through Wailopo, they automatically get that automatic drip and it never stops, right? As long as they're in there, it never stops. So, but that was maybe 5-6 months ago. So everybody pre 6 months ago, they not necessarily did they have that action plan on there. So what happened is Kevin created an automation so that they might have been in the pond, but then we had to trick it to say, we used a thing called temp. So as soon as it clicked on temp, it started that stale action plan again.
Nice.
So what we were looking for is to make sure everybody in our database is on some kind of action plan,
Ooh,
email
I love
address.
that.
Right? So that's one of the big things, because when we send out our big email monthly mailer, we don't send it out through Follow Up Boss. We do it through
Send It Blue.
Send It Blue.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I like them.
And the reason is, if they're going to unsubscribe and send out Blue, it doesn't affect our action plan and Follow Up Boss. Right? Because they might
Smart.
unsubscribe one way, but not the other, right? Or you can use a MailChimp or whatever it is people use, right? But we found we use Send Out Blue because we could use a bigger number without costing any more. So we want to make sure that everybody in our database, when they come into our system or they're pre-existing is on one. The only one we don't have an action plan and Follow Up Boss is past clients or friends and family sphere. And the reason is some agents, when they come to your team, they don't want you, please don't send me all this stuff. So we just use Send Out Blue to send them a monthly mailer to their clients with their name and logo on it.
That makes sense. But can you guys, I have a question from Susan. Great question. This is, what are the 9 stages? Can you guys go over those?
Yeah, so the first one, number 1 is new lead call in 3 days. Number 2 is new lead call in day 12. 3 is new lead call on day 45. There's actually another one in there. We put in tasks, get called after that. But
Okay.
we don't use tasks unless it's a specific time, because we found that it bogged down. You get 500 tasks.
The
An
process
agent
slows down the
talk about.
process. Yep.
Yeah, so that's why you use
The smart list.
the smart list. So then the next one would be AI replies. So people that have come back and replied through Raya.
Nice.
The next one is
We have an active client too.
websites. So people that have come back to the website started triggering again.
Nice.
7's hot weekly,
Oh,
right? So that's you haven't called your lead in 7 days, and you put hot on them. So please call them. Number 8 would be warm monthly. So call that has to be happening in 30 days. And
nice.
then number 9 is cold. People that you should call keep in touch with every 60 days.
Okay. And do you find that some agents don't get to 9 and that's okay? You're mainly
Yeah.
focused on the first few?
Yeah, as long as they get to the hots, right? As long as they clean up their hots every day, up to the hots, the warms can be put off a day or two, and the colds could be a few days after. They're not, supposed to follow up every 60 days, but you know what, if it gets 65, 70, it's not the end of the world, right?
Yeah.
And then we started another one right at the beginning. We call it active client. So anybody you have as an active client that we just recently added that task too. So we didn't want somebody that you put in hot going a week. We want an active client that's 2 days. We just put that in.
All right. I like that. Is there a whole drip system under that, or do you keep drips off of that?
No, the new lead automation thing is in there. Now the agents can turn off that drip.
Perfect. Perfect.
Right? They know that client best. So I would actually say on an active client, I would turn that off. The biggest thing is, and I know there's still that little hiccup in between, if they've gone from active to cold or to warm or cold, the agent has to turn it back on. That's where you're going to probably find. So there's actually a little key that when you move somebody to a different stage, it reminds you to set up an action plan.
Ooh, I like that. Easy.
Right? So it's like set up automation or action plan, right? So if you move them from one stage to another, it reminds you to change it. Do all the agents do it? No, right?
Well, that's normal, dude.
That's where my leads manager comes in to make sure.
He's the accountability side. So we have someone that actually checks and kind of goes through our agents, and if they need help, we have an ISA in-house that can help out. If they're away on vacation, someone can help with their calls, stuff like that. But we have that accountability side on it as well. So
Is that your lead ISA that does that?
No, we have another person, we've actually been using some co-op students. Up here, it takes about 6 months to get your license.
Okay.
So we've had them come in and they work in here training.
Oh,
So if you go away and you need some calls made to your hots and warms, or
Yeah.
they're there to
smart.
plug the hole, right?
I love that. All right, couple of questions. Nicholas is asking, how do you hold agents accountable for keeping their smart lists and tasks up to date? You kind of answered that, but anything else you want to add?
So we have a leads manager, right? Also, it's with Follow Boss, it's as easy as clicking a button. If they're like, all we ask the agents is be real with us. If they're swamped or they're busy, we can pause their leads and it'll just skip them in the round robin. So we have the access obviously to go in and do that if an agent's not doing their job or not, and then we'll talk to them first, obviously, but
They'll talk to them. I just turn the leads off.
yeah, Jay turns it off.
My money.
Yeah, it's his money, so but that's what we do. So
That's funny, and it's true. Love
I've
that.
had some, and then they go about a week and then they realize that they're not getting leads. They're like, hey, how come my leads are off?
you have 14 worms, and
Yeah, go talk to Jay.
so
That's so funny. That's all right. Linda's got a great question. Where are the hot, warm, or cold indicators placed in Follow-Up Boss?
We created the stages.
so
So you have to go in and create stages, and that's what Kevin does. He took over the admin thing. I think they did it purposely to take me away from it, so I didn't screw it up.
So basically in your list, when you can manage your list, you put them up in the list and you make your filter and you filter out each one based on what you need. So that's what we did. Hot is basically haven't been called in 7 days. It shows up in that smart list and it's right at the top bar of our thing.
And if you want me to share my screen in a minute, I can do it real quick.
Yeah, dude, if you could show that just so people can visualize it, because I know they can get a little bit lost on that part of it.
All right, so here's our, hold on, of course, today they'll be terrible, the numbers, because they haven't worked in 3 days.
Don't even worry. It's Thanksgiving. Come on.
So you can see the top,
Yep.
active clients,
Okay.
new leads,
Nice.
right? So then it goes, see all the numbers,
Dude, that's beautiful.
right? And then there's some stuff down here that we see, they don't see, so we can monitor, right? So-
Ah.
So if this person just came in an hour ago, see how it'll either say stage, buyer, or lead. They come in, so all we do is you just change this to whatever stage it is, right?
I like that.
Warm, cold, active, and then by doing that, it'll tell you to start an action plan. But as you can see, we already have action plans,
Easy. Yeah.
right?
I
So
like
it's
that.
if you can teach your agents just to change the stage properly, you're ahead of the game.
That's true. That's true. Here's a question, because some people may be thinking this one. Great question, Iris. What actually triggers the prompt to set up a new automation when the stage is changed? Are we talking about a different plugin, or is this already built into Follow-Up Boss?
So we just can pull it by so when leads come into our system, they throw a tag on them. So I can pull by that tag or many different aspects. It depends what they want to do. There's some good closing plan ones that will send reviews for us, and we do that. The second we change it to a pending, it'll get reviews sent out, and then it'll make a call for one of my admin to call and see how they're doing, stuff like that. As far as
So you can see here, I put on rules, right?
Yep. I
Lead
got
comes
you.
in this city, right?
Mhm.
It'll start, agent zone 1, we call it, and then it has an action plan built in right here.
I love that.
and then the automation will just basically pull anything depending what you want to pull, but
Yeah, and as you see, we have different rules, right? Each city is different for us.
There you go. And look, if you have questions on this and you're listening in and you may be a little bit lost, you can go into the little question mark on the top right-hand corner, drop it down, and there's Follow-Up Boss 101. It takes you through some of this as well. So
Yeah, so that's basically, the idea of, your action plans or automation using this and ponds.
Jason, do you keep people that are hot inside of an action plan is still people that you're in communication with?
That's up to them, right? Like, I think you have to, I would turn it off.
what we tell our agents, if you had a good conversation, they're usually turning off the AI, They're usually turning off the action plan and just going to run with it with them. Obviously, turn off Conversion Monster as well, and then the agent takes it. Now, Conversion Monster has some things. Basically, if they ghost you, you can turn everything back on. You can turn on the AI. You can turn CM live, and they start calling again. So there's things you can do. So we kind of give them that thing. But yeah, like every 7 days, they got to make that call, especially in hots. If JC's hot, that's where he sees his money go down the drain, and that's where it's our job.
That's funny.
So.
It's amazing to see the amount of money. Yeah, I think you learn by the amount of money you lose, right? You don't learn from when you make money. You learn from, you're like, oh, that person, oh, they just bought and sold a house. That's great. Not with us. I mean, you're not going to get them all. Like, let's be honest. But yeah, you learn through those ones. And the biggest thing is like one of the young guys on our team, he just told me the other day, he's been working, he started as an ISA over a year and a half ago. And then he became an agent. He's been working, he went and did a listing presentation today. I went with him. And he's been working them for like just under 2 years. And if he didn't have the proper systems in place, yeah, he wouldn't have got them, right? Like it keeps coming, right? So that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think that is the key, but it also helps that you have them itemized the way you do, like 1 through 9 and forward.
Yep.
How much has that organization allowed you, Jason, to see how much money you're throwing away if people don't call them? Does that make it more apparent?
Well, the big thing was when we went back and changed all the pond stuff over, and had our ISAs calling. So we have another stage. We've actually got 2 or 3 stages. So what happens is if somebody's already bought or sold or has another agent, we use the word contact. That's how we call it. Contact is basically somebody that will turn everything off. And underneath that, it'll say, we have 3 different ponds it goes into. It's either they have a real estate agent, which we might still attack. They bought or just sold in the last year. After a year, we might go back and attack them just to see where they're at. Or they basically told us to go pound salt, right? And the reason we put them there and not delete them is through Ylopo and they'll come back and we can kind of see who's coming back and where they're at. But that's always, if I want to see how much money I've lost, I look at that file, right? And as that file grows, it drives me nuts. But here's a perfect example. We had agents putting stuff in that file because we didn't have it separated that way. We had another one. There's 6,000 leads sitting in that file right now that we found the other day that I'm now going to pay one of my co-op students, right? Well, she's a high school student.
On call.
No, actually for now, she's just going to put them in the right spot. She's going to put them in the right spot and make sure the drips start again to the right people.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That's also where Follow Up Boss has helped is because we're organizing everybody in the right stage. When we find a mistake, we can quickly deal with it. Right. And we can correct. And some of those people we can bring back. And then, having them all on right action plans, the ones that are set up, what we call stale leads, they get for 1 year straight after they're there.
Okay.
We've had a lot of conversations come back.
We get about 25 emails a day of people in the pond that had nothing on that now are coming back. Hey, they might not be interested, but other ones are like, yeah, can you change my search or this? Like there's actually positives coming back that we wouldn't have even touched back in the day.
Because up to 6 months ago, we didn't have everybody in the stages like we do today.
That's true. And it all goes back to organizing it. Angela's got a great question. What are the days that ISAs call typically? Day 1, day 2, day 5? What is that?
So we use Conversion Monster for our first 30 days, right? Okay. So 60 days, sorry. So it's 1, 2, 5, 7, 9, I'm gonna say 30 and 60, something like that. It's like 6 or 7 calls.
Yeah, and something Jay didn't mention. So once it hits 45 days, if they haven't replied to an email drip, haven't replied to AI, or we haven't got them on the phone, they go to the pond. Automatically, we move them to the pond. And that's where our other ISAs, I don't know if that's a question, other ISAs in the pond will work those as well. So off an agent in the pond, ISA brings it back, gives it back to an agent. Because
we know agents like to watch that shiny new coin. So this way, they only technically have to call their new lead 3 times in 45 days. We've got the system set up. Now, is it a little bit more money? Yeah, but I know that if an agent takes on too much, they'll forget to call all those things and you need to, right? Like I hate to say it, and when we were talking about what to call this, I said babysitting 101. Like, I hate to say it.
Well, this goes deeper into that, and I love that you guys actually took time to show that. And
Yeah,
look,
so it helps them manage their schedule. It helps us keep them a bit accountable. And, and it helps them nurture stuff. And the beauty is the agents that do really well with this system, they're the ones that are successful. And now you can show the other agents that aren't. Well, you want to do more business? Two things. You got to put your database in, and you got to follow up with your database and your leads. That's it. Like, and if you put the people on the right stage to keep in touch with them, and I tell the agents all the time, you don't have to be talking real estate every 60 days or every 30 days. It can be, hey, I was driving in your area. I was thinking about you guys. How you doing? How's your summer going? Like, that's how I manage my database. I just basically take out, and I'll just do those things. I use one of Tom Ferry's thing where it says because our market's gone up, our house prices have rose 25% this year. Like, it's just, like, I can buy, if you list your house today, I'll have it sold in 3 days. Like, it's silly. So we put on, the market's bananas, and we took 7 of his little bananas and put that little text message out. I got 3 people out of my database out of LinkedIn that I've never met in my life to list homes this year.
You did 9 deals because of that one text.
Like, but if I didn't have follow-up boss on this and putting people in the right place, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense, guys. Well,
yeah, I did 40 deals in the first 4 months, and I said, I'm done.
wow.
That's me, and I don't take leads.
Yeah.
Right? Just by having people in the right thing. Now, if I go back and look at my sphere, there's about 150 people I got to go through.
Well, that's why you have an assistant or an ISA as well. So
I still like doing it. There's still things you like to do yourself, right? So
that's true, man. That's true.
But yeah, if you can just get people set up on the right stages and smart lists,
yeah,
your life becomes so much easier. And what it's allowed us to do is now, like last year we had 10 agents.
Yeah.
This year alone, I've grown to 21. Now they're all new, so they're not really doing a ton of business yet, but it's coming, right?
Basically, what these stages give us is it makes it scalable. So if I bring an agent on, I'm onboarding with that same as every single person, and that system's scalable to as many agents as we want. It's just adding another, and that's scalability, and that's what you want for when it comes on, when a new agent comes on.
Yeah.
So it helps.
But if you just want to run your own business, as I said, I've been doing this 15 years. My database up until 10 years ago, I didn't have a database. Like when I first moved over from the one company to the other, and we started our own little brokerage. I'm involved in there. Up to 4 years ago, what I did was the first thing I did when I came over is I didn't have a CRM. I didn't have anything.
Okay.
I spent my first 3 months just building a database. And now that I have follow-up boss that's really good at it, in the last 2 years since we came over, it's been phenomenal. Like I said, I did 40 some odd deals in there, and it's mostly my database, but it's just staying in touch with people. So
that's the key.
and if you're just an individual agent, just get everybody in the right stage. And when the smart list pops up, to call them again or message them or text message them. Like, I don't phone my database. I text and email. I'm terrible at it. And but if I can do that just by texting and emailing people at the right time and just saying things, like I send a monthly emailer, I text a message every 60 or 90 days. That's it. And 40, you do the math, 40 deals at my number's more than at about 900,000. You do the math real quick.
Dude, it just calculates to a lot of money. That's what it calculates to.
Yeah. Right. So if you're a single agent using the system of Follow Boss and just building your own database is great. But if you want to grow a team or you're trying to expand out, just getting this done. I wish we would have had these smart lists and all of that when we started with YLocal and Follow Boss, because that's 2 years ago. The amount I've lost in the last year and a half before this is, that's why I said, spending the time with Elena.
Yeah, Elena Key.
Yeah,
and I put up the link there. And guys, everybody listening in, whether it's through Facebook or this webinar, if you have questions for Jason or Kevin, guys, how do people reach you?
So basically, my email is jay@realhome the letter X.ca.
Real Home XCA
.ca.
.ca. Okay.
And then Kevin's the exact, he just Kevin at realhomex.ca.
All right. Just put that in there. Guys, thanks for doing this on Thanksgiving. in
No
Canada.
football for us.
Yeah, there's no football
That's
tonight.
all right. That's all right. There's what do you guys typically eat on Thanksgiving? Is it the same as over here?
Okay.
Like turkey?
Turkey.
I made a turkey that yesterday and mashed potatoes, gravy, stuffing.
Oh, so it's the same. All right.
But we don't get to sit down on a Thursday and watch football, right? We
It's
can watch
Monday.
Canadian football.
Yeah. Well, there's that. So
We watch hockey. Hey, let's be honest. Kevin and I are hockey.
there you go.
Right?
There you go, guys. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate
if
you guys.
anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out.
Perfect. I put both of those there. Thanks for being part of the Follow Up Boss community, and thanks for being awesome, guys.
Yeah,
Cheers.
thanks, man.
All right. Bye.